23rd in the year of McLaren domination, when the red and white cars won 12 Grand Prix, and Niki Lauda and Alain Prost finished at the top of the table half a point apart. But when the Formula One circus assembled for the first 1985 round, the Brazilian Grand Prix in Rio de Janeiro, there was all the unpredictability of a new season. 6 months had passed since the previous race in Estoril. The man with different voices and different cockpits was Lotus Leroy Ayrton Senna, who dominated pre-race testing in Rio in the latest Type 97 team. But Ferrari, Williams, Brabham, Renault and Abbott also had new cars. And on the grid was Alboretto's Ferrari with Rosberg's Williams in front, with the Lotus's on row 2. Back on row 3 was last year's winner, Alain Prost.
At the first half of the season, Albert was in pole position in 800. Mansell just passing in front of me, but I'm going to touch Alberto's car, going to the screen in front of me. I have a good chance to pass Senna at the same time, and I'm set the first corner, which is a good opportunity for me. And Alberto just led me, was there lately. Very good car, very good powerful engine. At the moment, the only thing I want is to stay behind Alberto and just take care of the tires of the car. I'm very confident about this race, but it's always very difficult because of the heat, about the tires, about the engine, about the gearbox, so I'm going to be very careful about everything. Nicky took a good start, but he's 8 or 9, he's going to pass many cars. Rosberg taking about 2 or 3 seconds with Alberto on my side in the first lap. Senna is fourth, the engine is Arnold, Piquet and Nicky. Piquet has a gearbox problem, and everybody expects a good performance from Piquet, especially in Brazil and particularly Italy, because all the testing in the winter in the same condition is heat. Rosberg is still leading, but he has an engine problem, a turbo problem, and Alberto and myself passed him. So at the moment I'm just on Alberto, and I feel very confident because my car is better than his car. So any problem I get is he's quicker than me in the straight, and it is very difficult to pass him. So I must work for a good opportunity, and Nicky is coming back. Overtakes Senna, and he's third, and he's coming back behind me. He's a little quicker than me at the moment because Alberto is slower, and I can't pass him. So I'm going to have a very good opportunity. I'm going to get a little mistake, miss a gear, when I pass him in front of the pits, very easy. At the moment I have no problem at all because I'm much quicker than him. So any problem I get is just take care of the fuel consumption, gearbox, tires, and myself. I'm ready to stop for tires. I'm going to let middle as well, stopping the tires. But at the moment, if I have no mechanical problem, I should finish first. And Nicky starts for electronic problem. He will start one time, it will start again, but not in the front anyway. It's a shame for him because we could have finished first and second. That's my pit stop. Very good job from Newton. It's like 10 or 11 seconds. And I even never lose this lead because Alberto stopped behind me. It's fresh tires, I have no problem at all because it's always perfect. Senna stops for electric problem. That must be very disappointing because in Brazil it's too big to win the race. That's the last lap. Alberto is coming back, but I'm quite slow. I just take care about the fuel consumption. And now I'll flat to you. I'm quite experienced in the car and can imagine the first race of the season, already 9 points. The car was very fantastic in this race. Never had any problem. Brakes, gearbox, tires, everything was perfect. Third time, I win in the night track in Rio. last 50 meters, you can see mechanics jumping which are very OP but not very annoying. Roberto is second, and the engine is safe.
So McLaren have done it again. Their eighth consecutive victorious one, and Enthusiasm fighting as a just as the public began to predict another round of McLaren walkovers, round 2 accepted the book. For the first European race of the year, the teams returned to Portugal and Australia, with a major change at Ferrari. René Arnoux was out, Stefan Johansson was in, and the German Saskia team were having their first Grand Prix, with Jonathan Carney at the wheel. Senna dominated practice, with only a cross getting back half a second, and then Alexander being nailed. But that didn't worry Martin Senna. So that was my first pole position on my second year in Grand Prix. Portugal was very good to be there. Important to have a clear start with no accidents, and so we were going to the race with a very slippery track, cars sliding everywhere. Very hard to keep the cars under control. You would often see cars just sliding around the place, purely lack of grip and too much power. That's the end of the straight, where you come about 200 miles an hour, go to a right-hand corner in third gear, so it's a big break point and a big corner. That's the end of the first lap. That is the incident between Patrese and Johansson, where Patrese tried to take Johansson the brake. Then you see Prost putting the pressure over the Angelis for the second place. Damage. But that was the end of his race anyway. Then Elio had a big pressure from Alboreto for the second place. Still Elio has the visor a bit open there, as you can see. Try probably improve the visibility. And Alboreto eventually comes through Elio and need to keep the concentration, to keep the car under control right through the end. There comes the checkered flag. Hard to believe. It was my first win and it was fantastic. After 2 hours, it was an exciting end of the Portugal Grand Prix. Then the rosters tried to make the best of it with the champagne over Peter Warder on the left, my team manager, Alboreto as well, and then Tambay. Senna's name was on everyone's lips. It started from pole, led every lap since 1982. But for round 3, San Marino Grand Prix, what the fans wanted was a Ferrari. After qualifying, they got Senna and Rosberg in front row, Alboreto in the second. And in the only 15th start, second race for Ferrari, Stefan Johansson.
Practice for me here was not particularly good. I had a lot of leverage in my car, wanted to go, and the engine was going on. I was down in 15th place in the race. And in fact, my start was not particularly good either, and I lost another 2 places on the first lap. But I was still quite happy with the car and the race conditions. We got a lot of laps of full tanks, and I was quite confident in the race that it was going to go reasonably well. I took it quite easy in the beginning because I wanted to save the tyres, and also we all knew that it was going to be quite marginal on the fuel. So therefore I decided to take it easy for the first 10 laps or so. In the meantime there was a very good race at the front between the 2 Lotuses and the Kia and Prost that went on for a very long time, I believe. I think that's just overtaken really. Meanwhile, I got up to 6th place quite early on. It was quite interesting to see the reaction from the public. As you can see in this picture here, in the beginning when I was surprised there wasn't really nothing. But as soon as I started getting the points, they started to get quite excited. This is Michaela being dragged down. Michaela put into the pits. I think the reason why he stopped was because he had a flat battery or something. They did send him out again, but it only lasted for a few more laps before he had to stop again. And here's the moment where I'm about to overtake Gary, I think. I was behind him for many laps, trying to overtake, but there was no way I could make any ground on the straights. So I knew I had to put it all in one go when we had some traffic, so then back when I was trying to overtake. It did work out, but it was pretty close. And then I started to slow down here because the fuel gauge was leading and you had to take it a bit easy. The reason I didn't slow down particularly was because halfway through the race I already reduced down a bit because I tried one lap and I could do about the same lap time so I think it's better to be safe and have a little bit extra at the end of the race if I have to charge. It was nice when I overtook Senna for the lead to see the reaction from the crowd and I could actually hear the crowd about the engine. Unfortunately, there was something wrong with the engine. There was a little crack in the turbo inlet in the lock, which made the electronics really wrong consumption, so it pumped in too much fuel. And that, of course, made the car eventually run out of fuel and could help the whole thing. Well, obviously then it was not very nice, really. Maybe I shouldn't relate what I thought He's crossing the line. There they are, cruising in as well. We walk back to the pits. There's a lot of exercise in the end of the race. I think everybody just about had to walk back to the pits. Push they can. That's how we see the trophy which he eventually had to hand over to Elio because he was disqualified for the car being underweight.
In post-race reviewing, the sky said that Prost's car was 2 kilograms underweight. That was it. The Prost it was to a lucky day, just as it was for Johansson and for Senna. McLaren had only collected 3 points in 2 races, and now a latest driver of the Angeles broke the total by 4 points from Alboreto, with Prost in 4th place behind Cabrera. And so Monte Carlo, the most famous race of the year, where Grand Prix cars have long since outgrown the narrow, twisting track, but where they still manage to produce one of the great spectacles of the year. After missing the opening races because they had no time contract, Tim went back with sponsorship from Peloton and a car for Teo Fabi. Pole again belonged to Sam. The Ford Mansell was less than a 10th slower. Leading Hill 2 was Kenny Alboreto.
Was a very good start for the first part of the grid, but not in the middle because Johansson had an accident with Tambe and Berger. You can see at the back. Senna was really quick at the beginning of the race, and I tried to pass Mansell in the first lap. Here we can see Johansson fly over some other cars. In fact, Tambe and Berger was off of the race. When I tried to pass Mansell, I was a little bit too quick for the Sunderland corner, but everything was good. Here I hit the Senna right on the edge and I passed him and I was first in the race. Was really good in this moment. I feel the race in my hand, but unfortunately was an accident between Patrese and Piquet. I think there is
is not responsibility of Patrese or Tingay. It's a typical accident of Monte Carlo, and both driver was really unlucky and then got injured. And that was a problem for me because I was straight on the oil of the gearbox of Patrese, and I lost the first position again. That's the moment when I go straight on in the Thunderbolt corner and cross past me. But my car was not damaged, and I was sure to be good again in the race. Lauda had the same problem than me in the oil of Patrese, but he got straight on and his engine switched off, and it was impossible for him to start again in the race. Here I catch Prost. My car was really good, and he missed here in this place, and it was possible for me to pass him first in the race again. In this moment I feel the race again in my hand, but it was too soon because I catch a tire in the place of the accident of Piquet and Patrese, and I must stop in the pit to change the tires. It was a quite quick pit stop. And I come back in the race in the 4th place. Here I pass the Cesare for the 3rd place, and here I pass the Angels for the 2nd place. To catch Prost for the 3rd place. I was really happy to my 2nd place because when you make a pit stop in Monte Carlo, normally it is really difficult to be in the point at the end of the race. It was a good result for me, but I am sure my car was better than the McLaren.
But it was McLaren and Prost that got the 9 points this time, opening up the disappointment of Imola, and putting Prost in the fourth of the championship without Beretta, leaving Angelis still under 9 points in front. The next start is Spa on the Belgian, and this turned out to be the race that Imola was. The Newman service track broke up so badly during practice that the drivers found it impossible to race on. A new type of material had been used to improve the underwater growth and cut down speed on a track where the race is often run in heavy rain. But to the environment were concerned, the weather was hot. The track literally melted, and the event was postponed until September. So the teams flew off to North America and Montreal. Certainly, Jules Coulter is named after Canada's greatest driver, and where it was rocking, the Ferrari supporters always out in the race. But again, it was noticed on the road. De Angelis this time ahead of Sandy. However, the Ferrari still looked very strong, filling the second round. Coulter only 400ths of a second, and increasingly confident through and Stefan Johansson.
The practice here was a lot better than what I've been used to up until then. It was really the first time that I had a reasonably problem-free run. Just getting enough laps in your practice, especially during qualifying. I concentrate on using these tires all the time, which probably works out better because there's really the difference between the qualifiers and the race tires. And lost one close to the start to work. He
this car now after 2 or 3 laps, so they've got to go back to 4th place quite quickly. And I took it very easy at the beginning on the tank before to save the tyres and get them onto the brakes because it was going to be quite hard on me. After about 10 or 15 laps I started to make some progress behind. But they have done pulling out. I think he had a problem with the intercoolers or something. It was definitely an unscheduled stop, as you can see. Andreas damaged his nose cone or something. I don't know exactly what happened now. I think he had some kind of incident with Winkelhoff. He certainly did. That's Michaela trying to overtake area. I think he will have another go at the head where really all the overtaking was taking place in Montreal. And our car was particularly good out of this corner, which is a big advantage because you've got a lot of, if you can put the car on here, you've got a lot of strength going onto the straight. As you can see how Mickey actually gets into the outside going into the first corner. Terrific. Magic. How could he find first gear so quickly? That's very, very nice. This is Elio having a very heavy car. It's incredibly fast out of this corner. It's quite surprising he actually got away without injuring himself. And this is me trying to overtake Elio. Not so much trying to overtake her, actually, it's just making him a bit nervous to later on around. The next time I had to go again, but this time I tried to get him as far as possible to the inside of the corner so he got a very bad line out of it. You can see he's got too much wheelspin when he comes out, and I can power out of the corner much better and actually overtake him from the next one. And after this it was really just a question of bringing it back home. I did catch Michaela quite a lot in the end, but I think he was cruising a bit. And at the same time as I got close to him, my engine started to develop quite a bad misfire after slow corners, which he didn't have during the whole race, but he got very bad at the end. So, literally, as soon as I got up behind him, I started to drop back again. Something he didn't very excited about. And in fact, it got so bad in the end, that's possible that almost overtook me in the last 2 or 3 laps, but I think he also had to slow down in the end because he was working something, which probably just might save me second place because there's really nothing I could do this time to speed up. This is the last lap, and the team's got a very simple efficient that's our line actually. I'm going to take that and it's like all the curves there. It's nice to finish on a podium for the first time in Formula 1. Let's check this out. Long time since I've had him. I'm very happy with everybody in the team. It's crossed, stopped after the race. I don't know if he actually ran out of fuel or if he stopped to have a few more litres in the engine on the way to the car afterwards, especially after what happened in Imola. Champagne, trying a nice victim down in the crowd here, putting a bit of a shower.
It was the first Ferrari Grand Prix for 2 years, with Alvaretto at the head of the championship table, with Prost 5 points behind. The other consistent De Angelis left the second place with him. But the upside of the North American visit, the tight, bumpy Tiger track, always produces an upset. This season is no exception, even if the French road has looked good better than the previous round the houses race in Monte Carlo, with Senna a fraction faster than Mansell. After the third round comes that round the houses specialist and most determined races, Daniel Rosberg.
qualifying my part had been fairly uneventful, and I think I was 5th or 6th of the grid just behind Alboreto. Decided to go for the gap between the wall and got a little bit close there. But made a reasonably good start, got in the first corner in 4th place. And we had decided with my tyre engineer to take other tyres than all the other leading drivers had. Just based on feel on more than on anything else. And at least right at the beginning it showed that, as expected, the softer tyre would be better because the hard tyre takes a little bit longer to warm up. We had just passed Prost into 3rd. There was Senna, Mansell leading, and I was in 3rd place. See Nicky very far down. Senna is still leading, and I'm 2nd already in this picture. And unfortunately I missed it here, but I'll just take the lead from Senna after about 7 or 8 laps. Tyres and car were working very, very well. Although we had some big problem with the engine, maybe compared with others, still in Detroit, the all seemed to be going extremely well. Senna was in a harder tyre compound than I was, and it fairly soon became obvious for him that he wasn't going to be able to stay with me on those tyres. Went in for a tyre change, but unfortunately got the same hard tyres again, which wasn't going to help him a whole lot. And after Senna went in for the pits, I was really travelling in my own, just watching for the gap for the others. States of the race, I started getting a slight problem already with overheating. It's quite obvious that one of the radiators was blocked. The Senna has just come out the pits with his new tyres, cold tyres, clipped the tyre wall there and pulls one tyre out. This is really one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in Grand Prix racing. The guy going the wrong way behind a blind corner. Not very advisable. Martin Brundle, the tour showed very, very well with the crossroad. It was the last time, definitely we saw crossroad running competitively. That's one of Martin's spins here with the brake problems. I think he spun twice before he can finally hit the wall. This corner of Prost is now hit the wall, was the worst during the race. 2 inches off on the line, it was all marbles, and as soon as he went into those marbles, just completely lost control over the car, with the result that he would go right on the wall. So it was very, very difficult, because he had to stay as close as possible to the inside wall to keep your wheels off from the marbles. As he's still not going to give up. Senna in the front of the next little tyre, so maybe we'll get some softer stuff this time. And then finally Nigel's race ended just for the lap round. His brakes let him down and he's spinning on the marbles and the wall fairly hard, damaging his hand and knocking himself out a little bit as well. There's anyone for a new nose and the wings. I think this is one of the most remarkable accidents in that race, where Elliott got the whole blame. I don't think the situation is quite that simple. I don't think Martin, in the strong races he was running at that time, should ever have gone for that gap. And I'm coming in the pits and I finally got the paper removed. I've radioed the pits in advance. Told them I was coming in because of the paper and the radiators. I didn't see the paper removed. I only got I got new tyres. Went out again. And because I collected some new paper again right out of the pits in the first corner, so my temperature level went down. and the language they used over the radio debates was not that believable because I assumed that they never got the England only got new tyres, and that's not what I wanted. So here's Stephen Lawrence, I was running second, but very, very close to me because of my pit stop. By the way, those sparks are because the car was put on very heavily due to our very soft rear springs which we used in order to get maximum traction. Then once I got the temperature into my tyres, it heated the base of the back all the way from Stefan. And although the engine was running 120 degrees for the last laps, it still held together, and I'm going to have one in America again. He managed by the same agent in the happy 1-2 for Stefan and myself. Anthony Marshall, second commentator, got the zero champagne there.
Simply a champagne inside the toilet. It's not to worry for the French driver and a full wheel. The last two had their turbocharged car, mounted rumble using a yellow engine, although Stefan Belloff was still his way power. Incredibly, Nigel Mansell had a lucky escape from a horrifying accident and a nerve car exploded. He suffered concussion and kept him out of the race. But just to show that a win can do for morale, his teammate Rosberg put Williams on the pole. Although Senna was predictable up there with him. It was very hot, and the weather proved to be much to Pirelli's advantage, which was record single seat.
I was 15 years old. And I don't usually to have a good start, and these races had a very, very good start. After the first corner, I was in the third position. You see, kept leading Senna and me. I knew it was a very, very hard race we had a very long straight. It's very hard for the engine, and it's very difficult to finish this race. It was very, very quick in the straight. I saw Ali, who was not that quick, the Renault engine. Behind me came Boreto, Ellie, Lauda, plus. You can see after 2 or 3 laps, I could see that the Pirelli tire was working a little bit better than the Goodyear. And my car was a little bit quicker than the Renault car in the straight. That was a bit trouble to overtake Ayrton, but I wasn't for sure it would be some kind of trouble to overtake in this race. Like I said, it's a very, very hard race to the engine. You see yellow peaks in the first 3 laps already blow up. Here you can see Alboreto also is working a turbocharge. Was already trying very hard to get Senna. Okay, that was my first try in a straight line. I think he tried to overtake me back, but it was too late. And after that, I tried to push a little bit more to get close to KT. And in the meantime, I was studying how come can I overtake him, because in the straight line it wasn't possible. That's how you can reach his extra tires. That was the one after about 10 laps I tried with my first try to overtake Keki, and I got him in a long corner after the straight. It was a very dangerous place to try, but it was the only place I could. Second try to overtake me back, but it was too late. And after that, I was using the front and walk away. Everybody was happy to pit, and there's still 42 laps to go. Keki had a very big hole with the McLaren, about all race. I used to have a very, very big chance, and I was very lucky because I knew after he had oil leaking, he didn't go up and the oil went straight in the rear tire. That's the reason he was it's a incredible accident. tricky hole, but not glide for a long time. And here, Nicky had it probably give off. Yet after that, cross of a big key, because he had already traveled the tires. But he changed very quick in the pits, changed the tires, and he could get across back in the last lap. I was very excited for the second place. That was my last lap. The tire was still in a very good condition. The rear tire was a little bit finishing, but still good to finish in front. It was a very, very fantastic race for Pirelli, because was the first winning after so many years, and the first hot race of the season. That was the main thing, because all the tests we done was in Brazil and South Africa, and that's the reason we did very good in Bogota. I was very, very pleased with the tires, and I can say the car works very good, the engine works very good, but the superior ahead was the tires.
With Rosberg second, Rossi third, and Alboreto third, the French Grand Prix still left Alboreto leading points tally, but with the cost now tantalising 5 points behind. No sign of a decline will go to now. Ferrari had 15 place points at this stage, with Motors on 35, and McLaren was low with 39. The 7 races so far have been won by 6 different drivers in 5 different races won. So 1985 was proving the most over season for a long time. 2 weeks later, we were at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, recording Keke Rosberg's incredible qualifying average of 160.9 miles an hour. It was clear that this was going to be a very fast race. How would the first year? The result would be crucial as the plates hungry across.
Rosberg is on pole, Piquet is second and third, Senna is fourth, winning this out. I start very well too, but I have no room to pass Piquet or Rosberg. So Senna takes the lead at first corner and third behind Rosberg. Hamper is very quick at the back, but a little bit too quick the first corner, touch Johansson is out himself. Mario touched Pinzani with 4 cars out the first corner. That's out for Campbell. Senna is leading the race. That Rosberg, Mansell, myself, Cesare Piquet, Alberto, and Willis. Rosberg tried to overtake Senna in the first lap. So a very quick lead in the first part of the race. And I'm first, but I don't use all the power on my engine. I almost run on the oil and brackets. The Cesare is behind me. And he's going to overtake me through the chicane. I still don't use a lot of power because I want to save my fuel. But I'm still in contact with Mansell and the Cesare. Still fifth. The Cesare overtakes Mansell, but start to get some problems. But I'm going to overtake Mansell again in front of the pits. I'm fourth at the moment. But I feel that the car is going very good, and I can use more power if I want because I have enough fuel. You can see that it's my computer, and I'm going to overtake the Cesare for the third place. Through the chicane. I was not quite sure with the Cesare because sometimes it's very dangerous to do. And behind Rosberg, it was going to be very fair with me. As for the second place, I was 10 seconds behind him. I'm catching him very quickly, and through the chicane we were going to do the same, overtaking them the Cesares. Very fair, never shake door. I am second, I'm going to chase Senna for the first place. Rosberg has a problem with the engine. It's a shame. tried to overtake Senna, short ago. In the long fight with Senna, but he gets a problem with the engine. Every time I was behind him, he just put more boost, more power, and he's in trouble with fuel. But just take the lead, but I've seen that Senna was just behind me again. And he's going to overtake me. Just when we pass Nicky, we get alternate follow. Very unlucky this year, and Senna passed me in the straight. I don't try to stay behind him, to stay in front of him. Very nice fight for close laps. But I know that Senna gets a problem. He tried to overtake him, but he's going to brake very late. And just in front of the pits, I'm going to overtake him for the last time. Because it really gets a big problem with the fuel. He will never stay on the ground now. At about 6 laps before the end, leading race, and Senna is going to stop for fuel. Must be very disappointing. I'm going to win the race very easily. 1 lap before the end, it's going to be the chicken flag, but I didn't see the chicken flag on the left side, and I only saw him on the right side, so I'm not quite sure. And to be safe, I will do another lap. I can see that I have enough fuel. I want to be sure. I don't want to have any problem. I am 1 lap and a half ahead of Roto with second. I'm going to get 9 points in this race, but I will be not very happy because he gets 6 points, 1 lap and a half behind me.
9 points for Alan, 6 to McKay. At the halfway point of the season, Cross is now only 2 points behind. For the German Grand Prix, the familiar stadium of Hoffenheim was replaced by the new Nürburgring. An innovation is a kart race for drivers' wives and girlfriends on the Zaxby kart track within the circuit. After much added tuition, inside advice before the race, and much competitive pricing during it, it was Mark Seurer's lady friend who finally took the flag. Qualifying provided a real surprise. It took Tyrell Farley as fastest on Friday in the tournament ahead of Johansson's Ferrari, and on Saturday it rained. That gave Tyrell their first ever pole position, and put Farley into the history books. And most of the Ferrari was expected, but surprise number 2, it was dry. Desperately keen to keep his championship lead was Michele Alboreto.
In Germany, I think I made a very good start. It was very important for me to be in front in this race, because in German normally it's very difficult to pass the other cars. The only mistake was in the first corner for me. I was too quick and I touched Johansson in the rear tires with my front wing. After that, I think in my mind, I must win this race to explain to Mr. Ferrari this accident. Senna and Rosberg leading the race. Keke had to pass Senna in the first of the second lap here. Unbelievable speed of the Honda. And I was third in the race with behind me the Angelis and Prost. Stefan come back to the pit to change my tires, to change the rear tires. Poor Stefan, I'm very sorry for him. In this moment, it was a very exciting moment in the race. 4 or 5 cars leading the race all together. Here Senna tried to pass Rosberg in braking. Yes, very good overtaking. but I think Rosberg had a problem in the brakes or in the tires, I'm not sure. Tabe in reverse gear. It's half of the race. Senna blew up the engine and I was second with the engines behind me, but for very few laps because he blown up the engine too. Here he blew up the engine and I watch in the mirror of course my friend Prost very close to me. But my car was really good in the street lane. I had a very good top speed. And I say if I can pass Rosberg, I can stay first for the rest of the race. In fact, after a few laps, maybe for the tires or for the brake, I'm not sure. I think I make a little mistake in the chicane before the corner before the pits. Here, go slowly for a few moments and then I go inside. I touch him a little bit, but I was first in the race. Look here, we have a very, very good car, I think. Rosberg in the pits with the brake blown and Prost in the grass, trying to dance a little bit. Now for me it was really easy. Only control the temperature in the car and everything and finish the race. Problem for Stefan. Very unlucky race for him. Last corner for me. One of the best moments of this season for me and for my team. Look at the typical Italian reaction. Second. And old uncle left it in the podium with us. I'm very happy for it. Champagne for everybody.
So, Alberto had beaten Prost fair and square, and his lead had gone back up to 5 points. Next stop was the superb Austria fast and sadly missing from the round team was Manfred Winkler, tragically killed in a Canadian sports car race a week earlier. Nicky Lauda chose his home Grand Prix to announce that this season would be his last. After a career spanning 15 seasons of Grand Prix racing and one retirement already, he was off to run his own. Unless, of course, he changed his mind at the end. Terrible storm right before the race flooded the circuit area and almost washed away the hardy campers. The race day was dry. Aston Martin were on the front row, with Lauda and Rosberg on row 2. You had to go all the way back to the 7th row to find Ayrton Senna.
Fausto was my worst position on the grid, 14th on the grid, big accident at the start, several cars stalled, Ferrari had a crash on the back of Elio, Fabio stalled as well, and then Berger finally hit them a bit from the back. I managed to escape from the accident, but the organizers stopped the race, and gave up the first left. With no really reason, because the track was clear, mainly was clear, and they could have continued the race and cleared it properly in another lap. But anyway, the the race was started, you can see that with the red flags, and red flag and yellow flags, and we had the second start. They actually switched to the spare car as well, like Ferrari and Arrows. When we had the second start, I think Austria is a difficult place to start. Always we have some difficult ones. Keck had a very good start there, goes to second place. And I was behind him, right in the middle of the field there. Then we see Keck putting a lot of pressure early in the race on Prost, but the McLarens were so strong that they were just impossible to be cut. It was a very hard race for the equipment, so many cars dropped through the event, and the main thing is to keep going healthy, strong, but not overgoing, otherwise the car, the engine or anything will give up. So I stayed in my place for several laps, waiting till all the situation settled down. There we see Rosberg slowing down for the engine probably. So Lauda, who was third, got up to second place behind Prost. The McLarens were just going away completely from the rest. There was a good fight between Piquet, Helio and Mansell, and then Fabi, Warwick and myself. Then we see now the Chassis having a small accident, just slight damage for the car, but he was luckily safe and hurt after such a huge accident. One of the reasons for so many rolls that we had was that the night before was raining heavily, and outside the asphalt over the grass, the track was all very soft, a lot of water, so as soon he left the track, the asphalt, the car just started to flip, and he had 4 or 5 rolls, and was a huge accident. He was lucky to escape unhurt. TV, no doubt was an exciting review. Not so much for the driver, for sure. So straight after we had Prost coming for tires, it was a very good pit stop. Quick tire change, but the team did a good job there. And Prost was strong all the way to right for the green light to the checker flag. And then several cars started to drop. And the main thing was to keep clear from accidents and keep strong in the car. Mansell died operating problem, then Piquet suddenly after. With a exhaust problem, and I was then third on the race. But then Lauda had no smoke for his engine, and stopped with engine trouble as well, so automatically I found myself in second place. And at that time, Prost was uncatchable, so nothing to do about, but the Ferrari was putting the pressure on myself from behind. But it was coming very strong, so I had to push a bit to keep the pace and make sure I would have to my second place by the end of the race. But it was very good to finish after a lot of races with no finishes. Then in the fourth gear corner, uphill turn had engine blow and spun on his own oil, but no accidents. And as I was saying, it was good to finish another Grand Prix after Portugal. I didn't finish any other Grand Prix, so it was my second finish of the year, and we lost on them. Prost first, and just managed to come second with Ferrari coming very strong from behind. But we just still third. And then, obviously, we have to enjoy it on the rostrum, making the best of it with the champagne. A nice trophy for Austria, and with a lot of Italians there, still cheering up the Ferrari. Prost is still the winner. Now we'll see
some fun with the champagne, especially with the camera man in a few seconds. Just giving him some taste as well. Whilst were really close to the championship table, others were crossed with level on 15 points, but no one else was within 20 points. In the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari were comfortable leaders on 72. But the Ferrari were now clearly second at 55. And so to the Dutch race, Pirelli shot battle on the hill for the first time this season, with Keke Rosberg beside him. The BMW Honda engines were showing full advantage in his inverted long straight. And they too were crossed over sail, and with nearly 10 minutes, Nicky Lauda. So the starting jump for Ferrari was a problem because it was way back on the grid. A lot of cars stalled in front of me. You see now the green light comes on. It's PK and the right kind of gap. Everybody found his way by and me too. And they suddenly found themselves in 5th to 6th position, which I didn't expect at that time. This is the first lap. We see on right behind Zura and Frost. So I made a very good start out of my third position on the grid. Rosberg leading, Senna second, Frost myself third. So this time of the race, my car didn't handle very well. I had a lot of oversteers, so I wasn't happy where my car was balanced. So I was just sitting there waiting when to go into the pits and change my tires. So I said, around 20 laps and then come in and change as early as possible and hopefully get it over 100 laps. And the leaders in the right behind them. This is the accident of Martini. Just to play a heavy gun with all his wheels and off the car. Myself, just double checking the cable. Mr. Senna, Frost and myself. So here is Senna right behind me, Frost and myself. This is the end of one Williams. And now it's going to cross the lead. And race very slowly. Stopping his car. Here's me coming in the pits after 19 laps exactly, because I really came in mainly because of my bad handling of the car. I expected a different tire combination of the car because this is going to be a big read-on, but by mistake I got the same tire spec I had on before, so even having changed my tires I got out of the pits and I was not happy with my handling because my car basically handled it the same way as before, but there's nothing I could do. I can live with it, and here I'm just coming out of my first lap with Senna. I just changed his tires as well, he's just right behind me. So I knew that now I can't do anything with my tires anymore because it was changed twice, so I don't lose the race. So just try to go as hard as possible with the car I've got here right behind Alboreto. Alboreto in the pits, change his tires. I slowly moved up. I think when I went out I was 8th, and then I slowly moved up to the 3 because other people had to come in and change their tires too. Frost is coming in right now. So I think I've taken the lead. I must have taken the lead now. So basically I was comfortable because at that time I was first, Senna I think was second. And I had it very under control because, as you've seen before, apart from music, and there was nothing for me to worry at the moment. So here's Senna and Frost right behind me. But Frost got the better tire combination, really the one I asked for, which means 4 soft tires, and I had the
3-soft cars and got a car which was handicapped me, so you can see how quick it's going. Now he moved up into second position. And this now was my biggest problem because firstly he was coming like crazy and he was behind me, as you can see now. So the last couple of laps he was catching me up on the left wheel, trying to pass me where a little bit him through. And he really gave me a hard time that I could really hold him off with all tricks available and trying to win the race. You see here I'm always moving into the middle of the road so to make sure he can't outbrake me. This was a very important corner coming up now because it is the corner into the straight, but I knew that if my car is handling very well that it would be difficult for him to pass me, and I was always a little quicker here, as you can see. So I'm just running down the straight and trying to stay ahead of him, which was very close, but I won the race.
It was the closest finish of the year and a superb 25th victory for Nicolai. Beaten by his teammate, Alan Prost is nevertheless now ahead of the World Championship for the first time since Brazil. The next race was at that shrine at Ferrari where she beat Monza. The biggest chairs were reserved for Alboreto, and the biggest booze and whistles for Prost. There was another sad absentee. Stefan Bella had lost his life the week before in the sports car race, leaving Martin Brundle the only victorious. A new race is Beatrice, hosting the American team's first Grand Prix, with Australian ex-world champion Evan Jones making his comeback. To the crowd's dismay, Alboreto was on row 4. After 4 races away from the front row, Ayrton Senna was on pole, and alongside him was Nicky Rosberg. Third fastest was the Anna Williams Honda of Nigel Mansell.
Red light, the green and away. Good clean start from everybody. Keke putting the power down now, just starting to overtake Senna into the first corner with myself following right behind. They almost touched going into the first corner, both ran across the chicane, very difficult to see where we're going. Out of the next little bit of chicane, Senna gets it wrong and I managed to get up on the inside, which puts me into second place behind my teammate. Sparks flying for the cars. Keke, myself, Senna, Prost, Elio, and Michele Alboreto and Nelson following closely behind. Keke coming into the Parabolica, pulling out a little bit of a lead. Everybody sitting down. First overtaking maneuver, we have Alan Prost overtaking Senna. Elio down to this closely following Senna behind. Keke, myself, Alan Prost up into third, Senna behind, Elio down to this catching up Senna. Quite a few little battles going on. Here you see me, I've just gone down the straight and had to pull out through an electrical problem. I'm getting back to the pits as quickly as I can. It promotes Alan up into second, Senna third, Elio fourth, Michele fifth. Getting back to the pits as quickly as I can. Now here we have Nelson Piquet overtaking Michele Alboreto, which demotes him into fifth place. Nelson driving very, very smoothly. And here we have another significant move. Nicky Lauda overtaking Ferrari again of Michele's, which demotes him down into sixth place now, very significant to the World Championship points. Jumping the curves a little bit. Here we have a very, very early stop from Nelson Piquet, changing tyres and away he goes. Very early stop in the race, about lap 12. Keke in the lead. Ivy joined behind him now, just sort of staying there for most of the race. And here we have another overtaking maneuver, which is Nicky Lauda overtaking Elio D'Angelis into third place. Look at this, we have the front wing of Nicky Lauda's car collapse. He's going to have to make a very quick pit stop, overtaken now by both the Lotuses into the pits. Very, very unfortunate for Niki Lauda going so well. Here's myself trying to overtake the Ferrari of Michele Alboreto, but he wasn't having anything of it. Down into the parabolica. And now just diving in front of him into the chicane at the end of the straight. Keki's in second place, significantly had a pit stop. And now he's catching and driving very hard to catch Alain Prost, who's leading. Just behind Michele Alboreto's Ferrari. Back straight into the parabolica, Keki gets a very, very good slipstream and overtakes Alain to regain the lead into first place. So Keki leading, Alain Prost second. Las Vegas overtaking Michele Alboreto in the Ferrari. Here we have Nelson Piquet overtaking Ayrton Senna in the Lotus for second place. Keke Rosberg leading, Nelson Piquet second, Ayrton Senna third. Now what's happening here? Michele Alboreto retakes Keke. He's in trouble. He's going to have to pull into the pits, and unfortunately his race is run. He's lost all his water, and the engine's obviously about to seize, and his race is finished. Very, very unfortunate for Keke Rosberg, who would have been a deserved winner. Michele Alboreto limps into the pits. Obviously his race is running the Ferrari, which is very significant in the World Championship point situation. Alain Prost now cruising around the parabolica, coming onto the main pit straight to take the checkered flag for a well-deserved win. Coming up to the start finish line now, and very relieved Alain Prost, he wins the Monza Grand Prix. Celebrations on the podium. Alain, Nelson and Senna. Little gesture there from Alain Prost. Good cheering breeze. And everybody's extremely happy. Except for the cameraman.
Prost championship lead was now 12 points. 4 races left in the Prost October race. A week later, it was back to Spa. The car in Dard with a feeling and much more durable track surface. In final qualifying, it was Niki Lauda making the news again. He crashed his car and injured his wrist. Although he immediately left the circuit to have treatment, he had to withdraw from the race. As expected by far, the Red Bulls did play a significant part in this race. Within rain, we had formed up on a wedge track with Prost and Piquet, and the leader in the row, wet weather specialist, Nelson Senna.
So we have the start of Spa in the wet conditions like Portugal. Prost was on pole, was second. Important to be well off on the green lights, and therefore be away from any potential accidents and a lot of spray from other cars. So I managed to be first, Piquet was second, and then he spun off basically first corner and slowed down a little bit on the rest of the queue, which gave me a good break. Right from the first corner down, I had a nice lead from Prost and Alboreto, and then Manson and Johansson, and the two partner cars, and then Rosberg, the Angelis. But on the top of the hill, the track was getting quite dry already on the first lap, because Spa is well spread racing track. So we have rain in one piece and the other side maybe with sun. So it was a hard job to decide when to stop the tires. They were all wet tires, of course, but after very few laps, almost everybody started stopping for slick tires. And at that moment we see Mansell taking over the second position. He's starting to put some pressure on himself. And then Kekking coming strong over Mansell with slick tires and then Kekking as well with slick tires. A lot of spinning wheel on the pit straight. At this time myself and Mansell were still on the wet tires. And was going on quite badly. There you see the head pit stop of Ferrari. Going on the floor. Was a very slow one. A lot of spinning wheel now, as you can see there, with most tires. There's Diesel with the half of his wheels destroyed there, driving on 3 wheels. And at the same time, Johansson, just after the pit stop, was off the track with Patrese making a shortcut. And then this time, I was just behind Mansell exiting the pits. I had a slower pit stop than him, so it was important to take him as soon as possible. As you can see there, just out of the pits, I tried by the outside over the wet with the slick tires, and that was really a chance that we had time to take. Because with the Honda so much powerful on the race conditions, it would be difficult to take here on the straight eventually. I found myself back in third place behind Budzik and the Angelis. But in one lap, I got back in second place with Mansell coming from behind as well, quite strong. Because those two were still on wet tires. Like you see there, and the Angelis still on wet tires. So going up the hill in a big straight line, I managed to take my teammate over the wet piece of the track, so on the dry line where Eddie was. But at the end of the straight I could come back on the dry line. And Mansell did the same thing to him a couple of corners later. So the pressure was at that moment strong for Mansell. We both had our pit stop, so we didn't have to stop for tires anymore. And the conditions were very slippery on one side of the track. Here is the worst pit. And as you see now, Mansell losing it from behind, from the back. This part of the track was almost at the full race distance. And you'll lose there as well. But this side, which was the opposite side, was almost dry. And Keck was pushing Mansell quite strong for most of the race. There's a lot of fight going there. That was giving me a bit of relaxation at the same time, while they were fighting. And then Mansell losing the car there, top of the hill, make a shortcut like the Patrese earlier on. And this time, the track was flying more and more, and it was a good end. It's very good for the team, especially to win another race after such a long time running the year. And good to be on the roster, especially on the top spot once more. And there you must make the best of it. You don't usually get in this situation, so frustration play everywhere and enjoy it.
Towards continuation of the European Grand Prix with a 16-point lead over Alberetta, his only remaining rival. A good result of Brown's and a bad one for Alberetta could give him the title of champion. In this race, John Watson cost his team the largest intervals and still counted away. So the Irishman was making a comeback to 2 cars almost to the day since his Carolina Spencer. Campbell about to let Campbell's running across the television viewers and real drivers are agree. But as in summer, Hansen was a star of qualifying. And averaging over 130 miles an hour around the twists and turns of Brands Hatch to take his 6th pole to Ray. Nico came next. The third fastest, in the storm cloud, was Nigel Mansell.
Start of the race, red light will come on shortly. Concentrating very hard. Here we are, red light. Green, put the power down, and the power's going down extremely well. Senna gets a bit of wheel spin, and I put the power down, drawing alongside, and we touch just going into paddock, and he sort of puts me off after break. He goes off the circuit and comes back on the circuit, and Keke slips up on the inside, and then I go wide round Druids, because they got some dirt on the tyres, pull back on into 4th place. Down the hill, going up into Surtees, we have Senna, Rosberg, BK, Mansell, Elliot, Warwick, Searle. You see Prost overtaking Eddie now, just going up into Surtees, staying out of trouble. Keke right up Senna's tail into paddock. Going up into Druids, Nelson closing, myself closing, round Druids. Down the hill, and here we have Keke trying for the inside line, drawing right alongside now, so they're side by side, and then Senna chopping right in, and his rear left tyre touching Keke's front, and Nelson unfortunately taking the back of Keke's car and is out of the race. I go up in the 2nd place, Nelson legging it as quick as he can, and Keke, with the Nelson touching him, has a bunch of bits, and now coming into the pits. Another very quick pit stop, where you see Alan Chalice and Patrick Head making sure that nothing else is bent on the car and checking everything. They did a superb job, and you're seeing, I think 17 seconds they'll be out of the pits. A couple of more seconds and he'll be away. 17, 18, 19 and he's off. Quite ironic, he comes out just in front of Senna and myself. You'll notice that caught Senna now, and I'm right up his tail. Coming into paddock, about half a second separating us. And then coming down here, Senna goes to the wrong side, and I overtake him, just get inside there, and you'll notice that I passed him before the yellow flags were waving. I was back in behind Keke, and then Keke drove superbly here, and let me through, which I must thank him very much, and just cut inside Westfield, and then Keke took his line and just held Senna up momentarily. This allowed me to build up about 2 seconds, and then Keke caught me and we passed. Then we have Jack Lafitte, who drove a very good race. You can just see his tyres glistening there. And Alan Prost going through the field. Keke, myself, about 2 seconds behind. Going down Hawthorne. Here we have McKaylee, obviously making a point for the Ferrari team that his car's let him down because he drove almost half a lap with it on fire. And as you can see here, he didn't stay in the car because everyone had to catch the back end to slow it down. Obviously making a point that his championship went by the way because of mechanical failures. Here we have Mark Sewell coming up into 3rd place, overtaking Elio D'Angelis, going into Hawthorne and up to Westfield. And here he is taking Senna into 2nd place. So we have Mark in 2nd place, Senna 3rd, doing a very, very good drive for Savin. Myself leading, going around Druids. I was just keeping the 15-second cushion I built up now. Driving within the tyres and the car, just hoping that everything was going to last. Here we have Alan Prost overtaking Elio D'Angelis to come up in 5th place, and John Watson, his teammate for the day. This assures him the championship if he finishes in this position. Driving very sensibly, not pushing it too hard, just thinking of the championship all the time. Stephanie Hansen in the pits, doesn't look a very quick pit stop, so I don't know what his problem is. And we have Mark Sewell, who was in 2nd place, flying turbo. Very nice fire going, and I think he'll be getting out quite quickly in a minute. Note the marshals are very, very good in England. They're there on the spot, and their fire extinguishers work, which is very good for the race. Here we have Keke Rosberg, who drove an absolute storming race, catching Alan Prost. And I think Alan, just thinking of his World Championship, let's Keke go off into Druids here, doesn't put on much of a fight. Alan dropping back to 4th place, Keke up into 3rd. Very, very good drive indeed. And here's myself on the last lap. Thinking at this point, nothing can stop me from winning, hopefully. But when we went round clearways, what a wonderful feeling. The crowd, I could hear them. Just tremendous reception. Fantastic for England. Very good for the Williams team, and obviously myself. Many thanks to Patrick Head, Frank Williams, and all my mechanics who've done a wonderful job, and especially all the Honda people. Amazing how you can drive a Formula 1 car with no hands when you just won the race. No problem. And here's Alan Prost coming around again, clear race to take the checkered flag for the World Championship. And what a deserved World Championship it is for him and the McLaren team. And compliments to Ron Dennis. There they are, congratulating one another, and Alan must be, and is, great World Champion. Here we are celebrating. Senna just started the fight with the champagne, so I thought I'd finish it. But no, everybody very happy now. Here's Alan, World Champion, and myself. Greatest moment of my life, certainly in racing. And to pull it off in front of Grand Hatch and my home crowd, extra special. Alan and I congratulating one another. The French way.
So Nigel Mansell had his first Grand Prix victory at the Formula 1 at his home crowd, and Alan Prost secured his championship title. 19 points clear of the Toronto, he could not fly behind Manuel, the last 2 races were to win. By the time Alan got to Kyle Larby, thinking about the replacement, the British World Champion had already started to find out about the life and pressure on his new status.
Yes, I was very busy. As you understand, it was fantastic for France, for the French people, and I had a lot of work to do, not only in France, but over Europe. It was very pity the championship in England, not because it was especially in England, because I didn't want to wait the last 2 races, or especially the last race, to become world champion. And if I'm world champion, it's because I'm driving for an English team, and that's why I'm happy to win the championship at once. And everybody said it's fantastic for France, and he's going to become the first French world champion. Okay, I understand, but I feel more happy for me. First of all, I worked for the last 10 years to become a champion, and when I went out of my car, I had a very nice feeling for myself, especially for France.
The Colorado track can be the subject of major reconstruction work, including more spacious new bricks. The surface is 6,000 feet above sea level and has a long downhill home straight, so power is born. Honda's Finnegan's BMW dominated the race, with major motorsport showing its manufacturing vehicles more than 5 pole position.
Red lights on. And away we go. With a tremendous start here, all the power goes down, and then just in second, third gear, a little bit of wheel spin. A lot of action behind, coming down the straight, everyone's jostling for position. Through into the lead, Nelson second, Foxer third. Then we see a bit of action here with Gonzalez, Eddie on the outside, Ricardo's just touched, and then he goes flying into a receiver, really not there full to claw. Coming round, going into the club. Elio's in third, Senna fourth. Keke just come up into 5th place now. Coming up into the main straight. So a lot of action on the first lap, and here we have Eddie and Ricardo obviously discussing the incident. Neither of them very happy, and justifiably so. Keke overtaking Senna on the outside. Really charging now. So again, this is coming behind the other loads as well, D'Angelis, and I think he'll be driving on the inside. Here he is, coming to the braking area. Now he's up into 3rd place. Going very, very quickly indeed. And again, Keke slipstream and Nelson PK. Carlisle is very, very good for this, and is overtaking him. And he should be able to pull back to get his line for the next corner. So there we have myself, Keke Rosberg, Nelson PK, Elliot De Angelis and Ayrton Senna, all running quickly at the front. There's Nelson, who would have been very competitive in the race, retiring. And here we have Keke Rosberg, slipstream and Nathan come to overtake. I'm waving him through at this point. I see no point in holding him up. And he's going very, very quickly, and it's a long, long race. At this point, I was just thinking if I can sit on the tail of Keke and just wait and see what happens, because it's the early stage of the race. It's very significant to Gonzani playing up in the Tolman, and instead of pulling off quickly, he decided to go around a few corners, dropping his oil everywhere. Senna also playing up. And here we have, you can see the oil with both almost on line, Keke sliding straight off. I just scrambled around the corner. Keke did an excellent job keeping the engine running, and was probably a little fortuitous managing to take back on the circuit as quickly as he did. But that little bit of oil almost made both Williams drivers. Elliot Angelis, Alan Prost, Niki Lauda. If you watch Prost now dive in under braking and unsettle Elio, and his car twitches, and he almost pushes him out on the outside of the corner, and then Nicky's able to get through on the same manoeuvre. Here we have Keke coming up down the grid again, overtaking Elio D'Angelis. And the race is really hotting up now at the front, because Alan will be very, very close. Some more action. There's some more oil drop there, and the corner does go around to the left, and unfortunately he got it a bit crossed up. Keke making his first pit stop, Williams mechanics at it, very, very quick stop. 9.04 seconds, very, very quick. Here's the fight for the race at the moment. Myself, Alan Prost, Niki Lauda, Stefan Johansson with one lap down, having stopped the tyres already. You'll see that Niki will pull out of this line and go into the pits for his first stop. Here he comes now into the pits. The McLaren mechanics are hard at it. Not as quick as they can do, but he still wasn't a bad time. Here we have the fight again, myself and Alan Prost. He pulls out and he makes his first pit stop. At this point I'm thinking if I can keep going for a few laps and hopefully build up a little bit more time, then I can make my stop and have my fresh tyres to last all the distance and be able to go hard at the end if need be. Coming into the pits now, Williams mechanics do a splendid job. Alan Chalice on the back there, Dave Stubbs on the front board. He won't get out of the way until everything's ready. Away we go. Significantly, Niki Lauda comes into the pits with a flying turbo and has to retire. Overtaking some back markers. Keke making a second stop after driving so hard with the rest of his tyres. And here's Alan again, charging at the end. Keke overtaking him around sunset. And Keke back into second place. Going a little wide of barbecue. Doing a tremendous job to keep it on the circuit, driving very, very quickly at Greece. In fact, when he set his fastest lap and broke the track record. And now coming up onto the last lap. And a very, very good moment for the Williams team, the first 1-2 of the season and for some years. Oh, that's very kind of you, Keke, it's just what I wanted. This is a good film that got me into trouble. Yeah, the second win was almost as good as the first.
So, 2 in a row for Delighted Fancy. And now the Grand Prix circus is moved on past the Southern Hemisphere to the final race of the year at a completely new venue, Adelaide in South Australia. For many Formula 1 people, this was their first visit to Australia, and it gave them a chance to meet some of the local inhabitants. Carlo Kinsey of the Ferrari team seemed to have found a long-lost relative, says he had family was over the The circuit itself is superbly laid out of public roads. It is enhanced by constant facilities, efficient organisation, a huge crowd, and some highly dramatic race. Total third, qualifying story in 1985, Senna took his 17th position out of 16 starts, an extraordinary achievement. Once again, Nigel Mansell was on the front row. Prost on the second row now had all championship race to worry about, but there was quite a battle over who would get fourth in the final table between DeAngelis, Rosberg, Mansell, and the pole, Bell himself.
So that's the beginning of the Adelaide Grand Prix. I was in pole position, having Mansell beside me. We were all very worried about the first corner with a rotation accident, but Mansell took well the lead, he did a good start, and I had to drop to second place. But 3 corners later I saw a spot and I went for it. Everyone was clear on the start, and now you see that I tried to overtake one of the inside, and there was room for only one car. So when Nigel tried to keep up, everyone thought we had some moment there. That's racing anyway. So Keck took the advantage of that moment to take the lead, and then on the straight he was clear for me, as you see there. And the main thing on that track was to keep the brakes alive, especially at the beginning of the race with the cars in full tanks, 25 gallons of fuel, and with a lot of heat. So the tires and brakes were the critical thing there in the lane. At the beginning of the race I kept together with Keck for several laps, but then I started to have some real tire problems, and I dropped a little bit. Meantime, Mansell on the first lap stopped with some problems, and then later Prost takes over who was with some real tire problems, and 2 corners later Seward does the same thing. So America lost 2 positions in 2-3 corners. So Prost was lying third, ahead of Schurer, and that was Elliot, who was black flag from the organizers. And Jones didn't have a very good race there. He was pretty well to the race, but then had a mechanical problem. And Prost was the same. The engine failure, there's a lot of smoke there. But anyway, it was not a bad year for Prost. Really fortunate. So that time I was coming to second again and I did a mistake there. Hit the curve on the brake and then went over the other curve, having a big moment. But the car had to get a nice, very strong car. There you see. I knew that there was a bigger umbrella there as I walked around the track the day before, so it really helped the situation at that moment. Then Keck slowed down dramatically when I never expected, and I ended up hitting him from behind, losing half of the airfoil, and at the same time he was in for tires. And it was a big moment, really difficult to control the car with half of the airfoil. So when I was coming to the pits, the car went straight in the corner. I just lost complete control. I lost not only the car but the pit entrance completely, so I had to do an extra lap here for tires and the new front nose. Sewell, who was coming third, quite strong at the moment, had the moment with the back marker and had a suspension problem at that point. When I was coming to the pits, Rosberg was already with me again, so as I slowed down, very much to the sideline. He goes around the outside and take me. So I must say that morning the mechanics did a very good job. In 25 seconds they only not changed the tires but also the front nose, and the car was handling perfectly like the beginning of the race after this repair. When I come back on the track I was then lying third place behind Lauda and Kaki. And with new tires so I had a very quick pace to start to push Lauda. And eventually I got to him on the straight, but with my rear tire draining alright, so I was losing speed at that time of the race. And later Lauda tried to overtake me again. At this moment Kek comes for a second pit stop, so I take the lead momentarily. And I come back in third place, pushing quite strong. And Lauda then fight me back and take me the same way as I did to me earlier. But for a very short time, because he had then some brake problems, and at the end of the main straight line, he has a brake failure and hit the wall. As well with his car, nice with his car, with the tires, and at the same time Kek was coming very strong with new tires. Now you see now that you have a problem there. The car just pulls to the left and hit the brakes. So that was the end of it. The last race of Lauda for 85. And then Kek comes very strong from behind, but he was also in some bad trouble already at that moment, so it would have been a good fight, I believe. But the age of my car expired at that moment down the straight, so I slowed down, put my arm up, so to let me know that I was slowing down and avoid any further problems. And from then on, Kek just went away and had a nice win. My team still tried to repair the problem with Asia, but it was impossible. It was inside failure on the D6, and that was it. The Asia was still running, but only in 3 cylinders instead of 6. Then with such a good lead, they decided to stop for a new set of but on the rear to make a safer race. And then the two engineers will fight each other on the last lap, and of course hit each other, nearly pushed themselves out. And then have a nice win, certainly a good way to finish the season, and a race which he really deserves to win. Now you see the Tunisian drivers, this track is young and dry from the one, and it's good to see young people coming on the roster. Give a hard time to the old boys.
So, the referees in Southern Australia, the ninth season was second as an average. Rosberg's win gave him third in the championship by 2 points from second. And Prost's total was 73 points, including Jimmy Carroll's record 22 years ago. In the Constructors' Championship, the Drivers took the titles for the second year on the track, with Ferrari second, and Williams tied with Lotus for third, but only on the last 100 races for most wins. Alain Prost had finally taken the title for France after having sold off in the 2 previous years, but 2 different drivers and 5 different teams rushed out the win. Brazil and Australia, 16 close-enough races with 5 points. It had been a long and hard run, but the reach was the one.